Al die polisie se binnengevegte en beweringe van korrupsie teen senior polisiebeamptes speel tans in die openbaarheid. Die Madlanga-kommissie wat beweringe teen senior polisielede ondersoek, het reeds plofbare getuienis gehoor. En in die parlement word 'n spesiale ondersoek gehou waar verskeie polisielede en politici reeds getuig het. Om hieroor en oor die uitdagings in die diens te praat, verwelkom ek nou die waarnemende minister van Polisie, Firoz Cachalia. Minister, so your appointment came following that sensational media conference given by Lieutenant General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi in KwaZulu-Natal. Given what you've seen during your time as acting minister, what's been your impression of the state of our police?
Well, the evidence led so far in the Madlanga Commission are very serious, even though it's at this point untested. Commission has not made findings yet, but the evidence which suggests endemic conflicts of interest, inappropriate relationships, abuse of power is very concerning. But I'm hoping that the Madlanga Commission, as well as the ad hoc committee, will establish a public record as a basis for resetting the police service in the country, establish what the facts are, and create a basis for reform which is necessary.
So when you say reset, and I think most South Africans would surely agree with that it is needed, but what do you mean by that?
I think that the police service needs restructuring, it needs refocusing, and it needs, for instance, to professionalize, to build capabilities in detective services, in crime intelligence. We need long-term thinking about technology applications, for instance, the way police officers are recruited, trained. All of that needs a fundamental rethink. Now, I think that, so my impression after a few months is that, we're not starting from scratch. It's a national organization, it has a national footprint. We're talking about more than 180,000 members, more than 1,000 police stations, police officers who are involved in the fight against crime day in and day out. And I think that the police service does that pretty well. I know that will be a controversial statement, but they are involved in policing, in crime prevention, in crime combating, and so forth. The gaps are, I think, in strategic areas, detective services. So for instance, a lot of crime goes undetected.
How do we get more detectives into the service? Is this a problem that more money and resources can fix?
Well, there is a question about utilizing the resources that has been made available to the police more efficiently, more effectively. That's about looking at management structures, resource allocation, and so forth. The South African Police Service has been losing members, and from around 2012, the numbers dropped significantly. The last 10 years, they've picked up again. But I don't think the problem is simply with the number of police officers. I think we need better trained officers, especially in certain critical areas. I think crime intelligence is an area that requires urgent reform. If we're going to be effective in the fight against organized crime, which I think is a growing problem, you need new capabilities.
Minister, but you talk about crime intelligence, and there's this talk, and there's been reports about a fight over the Crime Intelligence Fund and how that money is allocated, and how it has sometimes been politically used to fund election campaigns, ANC election campaigns. How do we stop the politicization, or how do we fight that battle to make sure that this fund, this unit, and the police as a whole isn't politicized as it is?
So I think there's a serious question about the way the secret funds, which are needed for effective crime intelligence, how those funds have been used. I'm not aware that they've been used that egregiously for election work, but that would only make the problem even more extreme. So the police have to be professional, non-partisan. There has to be a restoration of integrity in the police service. And the police service, that's what I mean by professionalization. The police service can't be aligned to any political project.
So, I mean, the fight between, and we've seen this playing out now in the Madlanga Commission and the Parliamentary Ad Hoc Committee, the fight between the senior generals within the police. Initially, when Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi did that media conference, many South Africans thought perhaps this is a hero standing up for what's right. And many other commentators have been saying perhaps we should be looking at it in a more nuanced way. How do you read the fight between the generals? What are they fighting about?
Look, I am not in a position to come to conclusions on a matter like that. My approach is twofold. First of all, I have to work with the incumbent police management. So the National Commissioner is somebody that I have to build a relationship with based on his position. I'm looking to establish a relationship of trust with him. The Madlanga Commission will, I hope, get to the root of these tensions and provide us with an explanation.
If we look at, like, how South Africans are viewing this, when they look at what's being said at the Commission and also in terms of their own experience with crime, most South Africans have been affected by this. They might look at it and think that the scale of the political involvement, the corruption, undue influence, politicians being involved with generals and relationships between criminals, politicians and generals, they might think that it's perhaps too late to turn the ship around.
No,
what's your reaction to that?
It can't be too late. As I said, I think, when the President appointed the Madlanga Commission, he also attracted a lot of criticism. I think it was the right decision because that's the way democratic societies deal with their problems. We're looking to establish the facts in a judicial, ordered process that is now widely regarded as legitimate. I think even the President's critics think that are looking to the Commission to provide us with answers. That Commission should establish a public record that is legitimate, that forms the basis of a consensus. And all the issues that you're raising are exactly the right ones. Politicization of the police service, conflicts of interest, manipulation of procurement processes, inappropriate relationships between police management. I mean, some of what I've heard, and we've all heard, is shocking. Inappropriate relationships between ministers and criminals. When those facts are established beyond dispute, that will help us work out the reform agenda, a reform agenda that is going to need public support, which will establish the facts, which is necessary for the change process in the South African Police Service. It will make it easier for a minister who's interested in reform to set the agenda based on an agreed public record, a set of recommendations that the Commission will make in the critical areas. So I think, I know it's a cliche, but this idea that in every crisis there's an opportunity, I believe in that. I think that we needed the crisis, we needed this moment to reset policing, which is not to say that the police service is utterly decrepit, that it's not achieving anything. There are police officers at all levels, including the top, people who are highly capable, professional, who are up to the job. But there are divisions at the top. There are people perhaps in positions that they shouldn't be in. And I think that all of that is going to emerge not only from the Madlanga Commission. I think that the ad hoc committee is also a very interesting exercise. It's a parliamentary process. You know, it's a representative body conducting an inquiry into what should happen. And although it was not an easy appearance for me throughout the day, you know, I think that it's a positive process in a democracy.
Minister, thank you so much. Good luck.
Thank
South
you very
Africa
much.
certainly deserves a better police service.
Thank you.